Knight here. So guys, let me start by recapping the two crazy discoveries that I shared with you guys in yesterday's video on Ultimate Death Knight. And they all deal with this passive here, too awesome to die. So to summarize what this passive does, whenever an ally takes non-AoE damage, the first hit of that non-AoE damage will be redirected to Ultimate Death Knight. So if that's a single hitting attack, then Ultimate Death Knight will receive all of that damage. If that's a multi-hitter, then Ultimate Death Knight will receive the first hit of damage, and the subsequent hits will affect the original target. Now against bosses, this only works 50% of the time. So the discoveries I talked about yesterday were firstly that not only is damage redirected as you see in the description, but debuffs are redirected as well. Notice in the description, nothing talks about debuffs, but debuffs are redirected to Ultimate Death Knight. So that's an amazing discovery because that means your allies are protected against single target attacks with debuffs because Ultimate Death Knight will not only take the damage, but the debuff as well. And of course, if he has block debuffs or high resistance, he's not going to take that debuff at all. That means he's going to block or resist it. So your original target, once again, is going to be protected from single target damage and debuffs because of Ultimate Death Knight. And the other discovery was that before Ultimate Death Knight takes the damage, he undergoes a affinity check. That means he can actually turn a hit that was not a weak hit to the original target to a weak hit for him because of his affinity. So that's the craziest thing. So something that is not a weak hit for the original target, let's say they're both the same affinity, can be a weak hit for Ultimate Death Knight when that damage is transferred to him because he undergoes that affinity check. So once again, Ultimate Death Knight can transform damage into weak hits even if the original target wouldn't have gotten that weak hit from that attacker. So this leads to all sorts of fun things you can do with Affinity now that you know that Ultimate Death Knight does that affinity check before he takes on that transfer damage. So what is my crazy discovery for tonight? Not only does Ultimate Death Knight passive here absorb the debuff of that redirected damage along with the damage of the first hit, but he can also throw back a debuff as well. So that debuff transfer goes both ways. He's not just absorbing that debuff from the single target attack of an ally, he can actually give one back too from redirected damage. So how did I test this out? With a Frost and a Frostbite set. So any redirected damage has a chance to proc this freeze from these two sets. So total, we have a 30% chance of freezing the attacker from that redirected damage. Guys, just think about how crazy this is for a second. So let's say you're fighting in the arena and you use this team with a Frostbite and a Frost set on your Ultimate Death Knight. Well, what happens if that enemy team does an AoE to you? Well, they have a 30% chance of being frozen, at least the attacker, right? Because they're hitting Ultimate Death Knight. Well, what happens if that enemy team does a single target attack to your Ultimate Death Knight? Well, they have a 30% chance of being frozen, right? Because they're attacking Ultimate Death Knight. Well, what happens if the enemy team does a single target attack to one of Ultimate Death Knight's allies? They still have a 30% chance of being frozen because he's going to redirect the damage. No matter what, everyone on that team that doesn't attack has a 30% chance of being frozen, period. Period. Guys, this is simply insane. Think about it. Every single attack the enemy team does has a chance to proc this freeze. Every single one, whether it's single target, AoE, it doesn't matter who it's targeted towards. It has a 30% chance to proc this Frost. So I'm going to show you an arena fight where this crazy stuff is happening. Now guys, the point here isn't to show you an arena team per se. The point is to show you how broken this passive is, all right? So don't like directly copy this team. That is not the point of tonight. I just want to get this info out to you guys as soon as possible that yes, Ultimate Death Knight's passive here, Too Awesome to Die, can actually transfer back debuffs as well. So guys, another set that this would work with is the deflection set. So there's just so many possibilities there. Think about when he gets that redirected damage, he can deflect back the debuff associated with that attack. It's just crazy. So whether we're talking Frost, Frostbite, or deflection sets, man, his passive is just insane. All right guys, so how does this team work? First we have Jingwan here, and he's gonna prevent our team from being CC'd. Now this does have a cooldown, but all we need it to do is function in the very beginning. So basically against Gurgo here to make sure we're not frozen. So we have Duchess here. She's going to veil everybody except herself to make sure that people can only attack her, at least with single target attacks. And what's Warlord going to do? Put everyone's skills on cooldown to make sure everyone only has their A1s to use. And so they're only going to be able to target Duchess, and we're going to see this passive in action. It's crazy. So when you get to see Ultimate Death Knight's passive transfer that debuff, that freeze debuff that is, to the attackers through redirected damage. Well, toward the end of the fight, you're going to see it happen to their Arbiter towards the end of the fight. And you're going to see it happen to the Trunda. So the Trunda, it's going to happen when she has block debuffs up, but you're going to see debuff blocked on her. That means a debuff was attempted to be put on her, but she had the block debuffs up. So those are 2 times that you're going to see it in this fight. So guys, I'll try to pause it when this happens. As I mentioned, it's more toward the end of the fight. So Gurgo is going to try to freeze. Jingwan is going to cleanse it off. And Jingwan isn't a protection set, so you see that protected block debuffs. Put their skills on cooldown. Duchess with that veil. Okay, so you see some transfer damage already. Okay, Rotos got froze, but he directly targeted Ultimate Death Knight. So once Rotos and Gurgo die, then you're gonna see this happen. So debuff blocked. You see it right there. Debuff blocked. So notice Trunda was hitting Duchess, and we have a debuff block there. Why is that? Duchess doesn't have a free set on her, so it must be because of Ultimate Death Knight and his passive that is trying to freeze her. So let's keep it going. And you're going to see this happen to Arbiter as well, but she is going to be frozen because she doesn't have the block debuffs up. Okay, put their skills on cooldown again. And it should be soon. And you see, she got frozen. Arbiter got frozen. She attacked Duchess and she got frozen. And as I mentioned, you already saw the debuff blocked on Trunda when she attacked Duchess. So yes, this does work in principle. And there you go for the win. Alright guys, this is going to be a short video. That's pretty much all I wanted to share with you guys. That, you know, his passive works with Frost, Frostbite, or Deflection sets. At least Deflection in principle. But it should, because it works with these 2 sets. So this should open a ton of possibilities for you guys. So I think it's just crazy that the transfer of debuff can actually go both ways because of Ultimate Death Knight's passive here. So guys, I think this is a cool alternate way to build your Death Knight for the arena. Now, I know a lot of people favor Stone Skin in the arena. A lot of you guys were saying, even before Ultimate Death Knight was released, put him in Stone Skin. And I think that's a good option, but some of you guys don't have Stone Skin, and Stone Skin only lasts 1 to 2 turns. So think about that. Even with very slow Stone Skin, it's not like it can't be stripped or anything like that. Well, with this freeze effect, it doesn't go away. Now, you can put block debuffs on the other team, but it doesn't go away for the whole fight. And as long as you keep on reviving Ultimate Death Knight, he still has that freeze chance on everybody. So that's a benefit of this freeze set or frostbite set to the Stone Skin. Basically, it lasts the whole time that this guy is alive. And if you keep on reviving him, it's going to keep on lasting. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like I mentioned, there are just so many possibilities with this passive because now we know it transfers debuffs. Thanks for watching. And if you guys haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share. Turn on all notifications. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.